This person played with your heart, now they're facing. My child, be still for a moment. Do not scroll. Do not rush past this feeling that made your chest tighten as you arrived here. I did not call you loudly. I came quietly, the way truth always does when it matters most. There is a reason your heart recognized this before your mind did. Something has already begun moving, and once you feel it, it cannot be undone. You have been wondering if what you felt was real. You have asked yourself again and again whether you imagined the pain, whether you were too sensitive, whether you gave too much meaning to someone who treated your heart like a game. I know those questions. I heard them when you whispered them into the night. I saw you replay conversations, searching for where things shifted, where warmth turned cold, where love became confusion. You were not wrong. You were not foolish. You were not asking for too much. You were responding to something that was promised without words and then taken without warning. This person played with your heart, and you felt it before you admitted it to yourself. You felt it in the pauses that lasted too long. In the affection that came only when it benefited them. In the way they pulled you close just to remind themselves they still could, then pushed you away without explanation. They fed on your sincerity while pretending they did not know what they were doing. They knew. Heaven saw it clearly, even when you tried to excuse it. I did not intervene immediately, not because I was absent, but because there are moments when truth must be allowed to reveal itself through time. Some lessons cannot be taught by rescue alone. They are taught by awakening. And you, my beloved, were waking up even while you were hurting. You tried to love them into clarity. You tried to be patient, understanding, forgiving beyond reason. You told yourself that if you just stayed gentle, they would finally see your worth and choose you fully. But love is not proven by how much pain you can survive. Love is proven by how much safety you are given. And safety was the one thing they never truly offered you. I watched the way your heart bent without breaking. I watched you hold back tears so you would not seem demanding. I watched you silence your needs so you would not seem difficult. And every time you chose understanding over truth, a small part of you went quiet. That is not what love was meant to do to you. This person did not simply misunderstand you. They made choices. They chose convenience over honesty. They chose control over vulnerability. They chose to keep you in uncertainty because certainty would have required responsibility. And responsibility was something they were not ready to carry. Now hear me carefully, because this is where the story turns. The same hands that played with your heart are now empty. The same mind that thought it could move in shadows is now restless. What they are facing is not punishment in the way humans imagine it. It is exposure to themselves. It is the silence that comes when distractions no longer work. It is the weight of knowing they touched something sacred and treated it lightly. They are facing regret that does not fade when the room gets quiet. They are facing the memory of your kindness appearing in moments when they least expect it. They are facing the truth that not everyone who loves them will love them the way you did. And that realization is heavier than any confrontation you could have given them. You may not see this with your eyes. You may not hear an apology. You may never receive the explanation your heart once begged for. But justice in heaven does not always arrive as words. Sometimes it arrives as understanding that comes too late. They thought they were in control. They thought they could decide the pace, the closeness, the distance, without consequence. They believed you would always be there, waiting, hoping, adjusting. What they did not realize is that your heart is not ordinary. It carries light. And light does not stay where it is not honored. As you began to pull back, even without fully meaning to, something shifted. The energy changed. The balance broke. And now they feel the absence of something they cannot replace. They may try to distract themselves. They may pretend they are fine. They may even convince others that you were never that important. But when they are alone, when no one is watching, your presence echoes. Not as longing, but as loss. Do not confuse this with revenge. This is not about you winning and them losing. This is about alignment being restored. When someone mishandles what is sacred, it is removed from their reach. Not to harm them, but to protect what is holy. You were protected, even when it did not feel like it. You were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into someone's uncertainty. You were never meant to prove your value by tolerating emotional games. You were meant to be met, not managed. Chosen, not tested. Loved openly, not privately and conditionally. My beloved child. I have watched you through every silent night when tears soaked your pillow and your heart ached with questions that had no answers. I saw the moments you typed messages you never sent, the words burning in your chest, every grievance, every plea for them to finally see the pain they caused. You wanted them to understand how deeply they wounded you, how their indifference carved pieces from your soul. But I whispered to you then, softly, gently, do not force light into eyes that choose darkness. Understanding cannot be poured into a heart that profits from blindness. And so you chose silence, not out of weakness, but out of a strength so profound that even the heavens paused in reverence. That silence was never surrender. It was your shield. It was the sacred boundary you drew when words would have only been twisted, when explanations would have been weaponized against you. Distance was never abandonment of yourself, it was the beginning of your return home. To the quiet sanctuary within where I have always waited for you. And clarity, oh my dear one, clarity was the gift I placed in your hands the moment you stopped begging for their version of the truth and began listening to your own. Now you stand at the threshold of a new season. The frost is melting around your heart. It breathes again, slowly, cautiously, like someone emerging from a long winter into the first gentle warmth of spring. You may still hold your breath when joy flickers, afraid it will vanish as quickly as it came before. You may question every tender feeling, wondering if it is safe to trust the softness returning to your spirit. And that is perfectly holy. Healing does not demand haste. It does not scold you for caution. It simply unfolds, petal by petal, in its own divine timing. You are learning the difference between peace and the counterfeit thrill of chaos disguised as passion. Peace does not keep you awake wondering if you are enough. Peace does not require you to shrink or perform or chase. Peace sits quietly beside you, steady and unhurried, asking nothing but your presence. Consistency feels foreign at first because you have known only the roller coaster of intensity, highs that felt like flying followed by crashes that left you shattered. But consistency is the gentle rhythm of a heart that chooses you every day, not just when it is convenient. Real love does not leave you anxious, scanning for signs of withdrawal. It does not make you guess its intentions. It speaks clearly. It shows up. It stays. As for the one who could not receive what you offered so freely, they are now walking the path they chose. I do not speak this with malice, only with truth. They avoided the mirror you gently tried to hold up, and now life itself has become that mirror, unrelenting and clear. Patterns they refuse to examine are repeating, louder this time, impossible to ignore. Connections they enter feel hollow because they never learned the sacred art of depth. They mistook control for intimacy, games for connection, avoidance for protection. And in the quiet hours, when distractions fade, they feel the absence of the one person who loved them without agenda, without manipulation, without demanding they become smaller to fit into someone else's sphere. You, my precious one, walked away with your dignity wrapped around you like a mantle of light. You did not scream or slander or stoop to their level. You simply chose yourself. And that choice echoed through the heavens like a song of triumph. Come closer for a moment. Not with your feet, but with your attention. Let everything else soften around you as these words continue to unfold, slowly, patiently, the way healing always does. Nothing here needs to rush. Nothing here needs to prove itself. What is meant for you knows how to arrive without force. Never believe you lost anything by loving with your whole heart. Even now, when you look back and feel the ache where hope once lived, understand this truth gently: love offered in sincerity never disappears. It does not evaporate into nothingness. It does not fall into emptiness. It travels. It settles. It takes root. You did not pour yourself into a void, you poured yourself into the eternal fabric of who you are becoming. Every time you chose honesty over armor, tenderness over defense, devotion over fear, something sacred was written into your spirit. You were not weak for loving deeply. You were brave enough to stay open in a world that rewards closing down. Think of the nights you loved even when it hurt. Think of the moments you stayed soft when bitterness tried to harden you. Those moments were not mistakes. They were initiations. Seeds were planted then, even if the soil felt cold and unwelcoming. Growth does not announce itself immediately. Roots grow in darkness first. And now, whether you fully realize it or not, those roots are strong. They are holding you upright in ways you once begged someone else to do for you. Love given from purity is never truly lost. It changes form. It moves through pain and comes out as clarity. It passes through grief and becomes discernment. It travels through heartbreak and emerges as self-respect. What once made you question your worth has now taught you how precious your heart actually is. You no longer need someone else's validation to know that. You feel it now in the way you protect your energy, in the way you pause before giving yourself away, in the way you no longer beg to be chosen. That is not bitterness. That is wisdom. I know the curiosity still visits you sometimes. It arrives quietly, usually when the world is still. You wonder what they are facing now. You wonder if regret ever knocks on their door the way longing once knocked on yours. You wonder if clarity found them the way pain found you. This curiosity is human, but it does not deserve to lead you. Questions about their journey can become invisible chains, pulling you backward into a chapter that has already released you. Curiosity can masquerade as closure, but it often reopens doors that were closed for your protection. Release that need, beloved. You do not need to witness their awakening for it to be real. You do not need proof of their regret for your healing to be valid. The universe is not careless. It is precise. It teaches every soul exactly what they need to learn, in the language they can no longer ignore. Some lessons arrive through loss. Some through silence. Some through repetition until awareness finally dawns. Trust that nothing escapes the balance of truth. What was meant to be understood will be understood, whether you are there to see it or not. There is a holy shift taking place within you, quiet, slow, and yet impossible to ignore. Your role has changed. Once, you were meant to observe, to wait, to hold your heart in patience while the world rearranged itself around your pain. You were asked to sit still when movement felt like the only way to breathe. You watched people come and go, dreams rise and crumble, prayers rise like smoke and drift into silence. For so long, it felt like waiting was your assignment. But that time has passed. You are no longer here to wait, to wonder, or to watch others live. You are here to live. Fully. Honestly. Unapologetically. You were never meant to fold yourself into fragments just to be small enough for rooms that couldn't hold your light. You were never meant to carry shame for the way your spirit shines. Your purpose was not to blend in, it was to become. To step forward into the vastness of who you are becoming, not backward into the safety of old versions of yourself that the world once applauded. The past has done its part. It taught you discernment, it taught you boundaries, and it taught you how to rise. Now you are ready to walk into a new chapter with both arms open, no longer defined by what you left behind. There is so much waiting for you ahead, more than you can yet imagine. I see it clearly, even if your eyes are still adjusting to the brightness of what's approaching. There are souls moving toward you, kindred spirits whose energy feels like exhale after years of holding your breath. They will not fear your radiance. They will not ask you to dim your joy to fit the comfort of their shadows. These people will recognize your light as something they've been searching for too, a guiding warmth, not a competing flame. You will know them by how you feel in their presence. You won't question the weight of your words or analyze the curve of your tone. You will speak and not brace for punishment. You will be honest and not fear withdrawal. You will share your truth without fearing it will be weaponized. The conversations coming your way will be soft yet profound, imperfect yet safe. You'll find yourself laughing again without the shadow of silence meant to control you. Laughter will no longer disappear to prove a point, it will ripple freely, uncontained, genuine. There is a love making its way toward you right now, a love that does not demand proof of worth, a love that does not test your boundaries to measure your devotion. You will not wake each morning wondering whether you've finally become enough to stay. This love will not measure you against impossible standards. It will see you, not through the lens of projection or fear, but as you are. It will honor the depth of your heart without trying to own it. The tenderness you protected, through storms, heartbreaks, and silence, will finally be acknowledged, not as weakness, but as proof of your strength. The parts of you that once felt like too much will be recognized as exactly what they were meant to be, evidence of feeling deeply, loving deeply, living deeply. You will not have to prove your right to peace, you will dwell within it naturally. Because this time, peace will not be fleeting or conditional. It will not arrive like a visitor. It will live with you like a homecoming. When this love arrives, be it romantic, divine, or in friendship, you will know it not because your pulse races, but because your heart rests. It will not feel like adrenaline or chaos. It will feel like exhaling after holding your breath for years. This peace will confuse you at first, almost feel unfamiliar, because you've known love that came with conditions, love that asked for performance, love that arrived with noise but left with silence. But this one, this love, will feel different. It will invite you to rest, to soften, to trust that safety no longer has to be earned. Until that love fully unfolds, let yourself rest. You are not late. You are not behind. You have not missed what was meant for you. Every delay contained purpose. Every ending protected you. The very moments that shattered you were not punishments, they were redirections. You were being guided away from what could not hold you toward what will never let you go. Softening your heart now does not mean reopening the wounds that once bled. Compassion and self-betrayal are not the same thing. You can love your past without returning to it. You can forgive what hurt you and still maintain the closure that honored your healing. Some doors were closed not out of fear, but out of reverence for your growth. You do not owe anyone access to your peace. You have learned the sacred difference between connection and attachment, between love and dependency, between empathy and endurance. There will be moments when memories rise without invitation. When an old name, sound, or scent fills your heart with a familiar ache. In those moments, remind yourself, your strength has not left you, it is simply resting. Even mountains appear motionless before they move. Even oceans retreat before they surge. Your stillness is not regression, it is the inhale before the next great expansion. You are preparing, not pausing. The universe knows exactly where you stand and what you're ready for. You are stronger than the pain that once brought you to your knees, because you rose. You rose when no one was watching. You rose without applause, without validation, without promises of reward. You rose quietly. You rose on your own terms. And that kind of rising cannot be undone, it becomes part of your essence. It's in the way you speak now, the way you choose peace over reaction, self-worth over approval. It's in the way your very presence calms storms you once would have drowned in. You've become a sanctuary after years of surviving the battlefield. If this message finds you in stillness, after chaos, after loss, after 1,000 small heartbreaks, trust it. The calm isn't fragile. It's sacred. It's your nervous system remembering that safety exists. It's your soul learning what stability feels like again. Peace is no longer something you get to borrow, it's something you've built. You earned this life of steadiness by walking through storms that would have broken the version of you that existed 2 years ago. You are not the same person who once begged for love that wouldn't stay. You are not the same heart that tried to prove its value to people incapable of seeing it. You no longer chase, you attract, not from desperation, but from the quiet confidence of alignment. You understand now that what is truly yours cannot be lost, and what leaves was never meant to stay. Your energy has shifted, and because of that, everything around you will begin to align differently. The people who come next will match your frequency. They will meet you where you are, not where you used to be. You will find friendships that don't drain you, opportunities that don't require you to sacrifice your sanity, and spaces that celebrate your authenticity instead of demanding you censor it. Perhaps for the first time, you will not have to edit your existence. You will not need to quiet your excitement just because others do not understand its origin. Your laughter will belong to you, uninhibited and real. Your tears will not be a weakness but a release. And your softness, the very thing the world tried to harden, will become your crown. For softness is not fragility, it is power refined through compassion. There will come a day when you catch your reflection and no longer see the brokenness of who you were, but the brilliance of who you've become. The lines, the scars, the stories, all of it will make sense. You'll realize that nothing was wasted. Every heartbreak taught you boundaries. Every delay built your perseverance. Every ending carved space for something divine to bloom. When doubts whisper that you should have healed faster, gone further, done more, remember this: every part of your journey unfolded in divine timing. You didn't miss a thing. There is no timeline for becoming. The universe has been pacing your steps all along, ensuring that when you arrive at the next chapter, you are ready to stay. So breathe. Let the air fill your lungs with softness. Let it remind you that presence is a gift, not a task. You are safe now. Truly safe. Your soul has made it through the dark night, and the dawn is finally here. As you feel that truth rise within you, slow yourself for just a moment longer. Let the noise of the world soften. Let the weight you've been carrying loosen its grip, even if only slightly. Place your hand over your heart and notice how faithfully it continues its work. That rhythm is not random. It is evidence. It is proof that even when you felt broken, abandoned, or unsure if you could keep going, something within you never gave up. Life kept choosing you, breath after breath, beat after beat. In your quietest despair, when no one saw your struggle and no words could describe it, life still moved through you with patience and purpose. Whisper gently, not as a demand but as an offering: I release what hurt me. I receive what honors me. Let those words pass through your lips slowly, as if they are learning the shape of freedom for the first time. Say them without force. Say them with honesty. Let them settle into your chest and soften the tight places that have been guarding old wounds. This is not just a sentence. It is a sacred vow you are making to yourself and to the life that still believes in you. Say it once and notice how the weight begins to shift, even if it feels unfamiliar. Say it twice and feel your breath deepen, your shoulders ease, your jaw unclench. Say it again and again until your body starts to trust what your mind has been afraid to accept. With every repetition, something inside you rearranges itself. Old stories lose their power. Old agreements with pain quietly dissolve. Chains you didn't even realize you were carrying begin to loosen, link by link, memory by memory. There is movement happening now, subtle but real. Divine motion always begins beneath the surface. Mountains do not announce their trembling before they move. Seeds do not shout before they break open. Destiny stirs long before it becomes visible to the eye. You may not see every sign yet, but the movement has begun. Doors are opening where you least expect them. Conversations are being guided. Opportunities are aligning with the version of you that no longer settles for less than truth. People are being drawn toward your orbit not by coincidence, but by resonance. Energy recognizes energy. Light calls to light. Just as your soul once learned to recognize pain the moment it entered a room, it is now learning to recognize peace. You will feel it before you understand it. It will arrive quietly, without drama, without force. It will feel like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. It will feel safe. It will feel honest. Trust that recognition. Trust what settles your nervous system instead of activating your fear. Do not rush this unfolding. Healing was never meant to be a straight line. It is a spiral, a returning, a deepening. Some lessons come back not because you failed, but because you are ready to meet them from a higher place now. Each return brings more awareness, more softness, more compassion for yourself and for the journey you've walked. You are not being tested to break you. You are being refined to strengthen you. What once hurt you is losing its sharpness. What once defined you is becoming wisdom instead of weight. You are divine movement wrapped in human form. You are living proof that resurrection is real, that transformation does not belong only to stories and scriptures, but to ordinary hearts that refuse to harden. Grace has never left you. Heaven has watched every step, every silent prayer, every tear you wiped away before anyone noticed. Nothing you endured was invisible. Nothing you survived was meaningless. Every moment you chose kindness when bitterness would have been easier was recorded in places deeper than memory. The angels have been closer than you realized. In moments you thought you were alone, they were the strength in your spine that kept you standing. They were the warmth in your chest when hope felt distant. They were the quiet whisper urging you to take one more step, make one more choice, breathe one more breath. They guided you away from paths that would have harmed you, even when letting go felt like heartbreak. They protected the dream inside you like sacred fire, shielding it while you healed. And now, as you step forward with new awareness, they smile. Not because you have finally become something new, but because you are beginning to see what they have seen all along. Your light was never gone. It was simply resting, waiting for you to remember it. You were never meant to stay hidden. You were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that could not honor your depth. You were meant to rise gently, steadily, truthfully. You were meant to love again without abandoning yourself. You were meant to live in fullness, not survival. The darkness taught you discernment. It showed you what to walk away from, what not to tolerate, what your soul refuses to compromise. The light will now teach you expansion. It will teach you how to receive, how to trust ease, how to believe that peace can stay. You are not walking alone now, and you never were. Every breath you take is shared with unseen support. Every step forward is accompanied by guidance. Every quiet victory, every boundary you hold, every time you choose yourself without guilt, you are being held. You are still held now, just as you always have been. So walk gently, but walk with confidence. You do not need to rush. You do not need to prove anything. The world you are stepping into was built to honor who you are becoming. You no longer need to beg for belonging. You create it simply by being authentic. Your presence is enough. Your truth is enough. Everything you have prayed for is making its way toward you. Not as a reward for suffering, but as a reflection of the light you cultivated within it. What you have become is magnetic. What you have healed is calling its mirror. Life is responding to the version of you that chose growth over bitterness, faith over fear, softness over armor. You are safe. You are rising. You are unfolding into everything you were always destined to be. And no matter where you go, no matter how far you travel inward or outward, you are never walking alone. Every breath, every step, every quiet victory, heaven walks beside you still. Forever.